Hello and welcome to yet another volume of Andre's Christmas TV show YouTube vlogs. And in this vlog, I am going to talk to you about what I believe is the last animatronic Rankin film ever made. And it came out during my lifetime. I remember its premiere. It was called The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. And it was originally published as a book by L. Frank Baum, the man who made the Wizard of Oz series famous. And this is somewhat in the vein of Santa Claus is Coming to Town from 1970, even though they're about 14 years removed. This is being a story of Santa Claus taken from a more humanistic approach. The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, I might as well tell you, is a bit of a complex story for very young children, and there's a mystic element in it too. So, you know, older children, about 9 or 10, even teenagers, will find it pretty cool. I mean, it kind of goes along a little bit with Dungeons and Dragons and a lot of that. The story takes place an age ago in a place called the Forest of Burzee, or the group of people, or creatures, as it were, called the Immortals. Very unique life forms. Some elf-like, some kind of like Lord of the Rings. It's kind of like the Shire, you know, or like Middle-earth. This is a very Middle-earth type environment, and they're all immortal. They don't die. They're born in their present state. And it tells the story of how a lioness named Shiegra found this mortal human child in the middle of the woods, and it was instructed by this leader known as Great Act to give it the milk. And by different chances, through a very complex storyline, this young child, who eventually becomes known as Santa Claus, which apparently is a word in the language of their valley. Again, like with Twas the Night Before Christmas, it starts kind of at the end, when Santa Claus is allegedly facing death, and they are thinking of him bestowing on him the single existing mantle of immortality, which will make him eternally alive. And it talks about how he lives in this cushioned reality of the Forest of Burzee and grows up here, and develops a kindly heart. He can speak animal languages because of this immortal named Tinkler, who knows how to speak French and Finch. Funny little element there. And what happens, and this is my favorite part of the story, the Great Act takes young Santa Claus out into the world and explains to him the world that the mortal lives in. And this touches on some very intense issues for children. It talks about people going to war, because this is why they go to war. It talks about homeless people begging in the street. It also shows Santa Claus' exploitation of people by a class system. It really tries to explain very intense social issues in a very plain way and discusses it on young people's terms. My favorite explanation is when the Great Act is discussing with Santa Claus why people go to war. He describes it as something that people do. They fight amongst themselves for what are known as causes. And when Santa Claus, who's a young child at this point, asks, are they good causes? And Great Act says, sometimes, often they are not. One of the best ways to describe war I can think of. And it's all done in very basic terms. And Santa Claus comes back as a boy and says, it's a rough place out in the world, but it's where I've got to live. So this is a Santa facing reality. This is about a Santa who grows up in kind of a cushioned world, but has to face the real world he exists in. And again, he gradually mutates into a character very similar to the one in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, facing a harsh world, but giving of his talents. But he comes into contact with these other immortal creatures, who are called the Aguas, which, as I understand it, is the Spanish word for water. But these creatures want to do the opposite of the people of Burzee. They want to influence children to pillage and do really nasty things. And they want to take his toys away, so they will have an influence on the children. And then there comes a good and evil, you know, fight here. And Santa Claus is put in the position of having to deal with a war and a cause. And in the end, there's a battle of good and evil, and in the end, good wins out. But it's a little deeper than that. This is one of the more adult Rankin and Bass shows. I mean, kids can watch it, you know, for the fun story and the adventure of it, but adults can watch it, and there's a philosophic element to this one. This is a little more intelligent, you know, for them. Not that there are other ones more, but this is a little more intellectual. You have to think about this one. And as a child who thought a lot, I really enjoy this one. And as I watch The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus today, I get more from it each time I see it. I see something there I didn't see before. And it is very heartwarming in the end, like all of Rankin and Bass's. I miss those animatronic TV shows. I really do. I mean, they try to do commercials with them, and they praise the old ones, but it's all done in CGI now. These took effort to do, and I really appreciate them being there. And I always will, till I am in need of the mantle of immortality, as it were. But this is Andre's Christmas vlog for today. Signing out.